Hi everyone, I'm Zoya Yunus,
And I'm Nessa Vora.
and we are the co-founders and hosts of the Synapse podcast.
Today we're so excited to be joined by Ella Eyre, the founder of Ella for Students and the 6 times Amazon Top 100 author.
So Ella has built a platform focusing on helping students with passion projects, extracurriculars, educational guidance, and finding meaningful opportunities. So through Ella for Students, she's helped over 1,000 students and reached more than 250,000 people while growing her platform's Instagram community to over 13,000 followers.
Ella, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Good. What about you?
We're doing great too. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. So to start off, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Ayla or Ella. I'm okay with any. And I am the founder of Ayla for Students. I am a high school junior. My school actually started yesterday, which is kind of sad, but it's okay. And so I help students find extracurricular opportunities, passion projects, awards, anything you can think of. Again, I've helped over 1,000 students, and I might take a couple days to get back to you, but I will do my best always to get back to you. I love helping students, and I want to grow my project even more, and I'm so happy to be here.
That's so great. So to kick us off, I think the biggest thing that we see on social media with your impact is Ella for Students or Ayla for Students. And it's such a large community, but we were wondering what originally made you want to start it. So was there a specific moment where you realized that students needed a platform like this?
I love answering this question because it was kind of out of nowhere. I was in the middle of a mock trial meeting. This was this February, and I was I was thinking of ways to help students, but it was very I was just thinking casual, and I was like, Ayla for Students. Oh, that sounds really cool. And then that day I created the account and I just started posting. And I also reached out to a couple people because at that time I did this extracurricular called FBLA. I'm sure most of you know, Future Business Leaders of America. And I just reached out to a couple people there. I was like, would you like a consultation or something like that? And they were like, of course. And then from there I just realized this was something that a lot of students need, but because it's a niche concept, I guess nobody thought about doing something like this. And again, I just want to help students because before this I also have this other project called Student Sex Services Spotlight. So I was kind of thinking, what I should do to help students, and that's how I created Ayla for Students.
Wow, it's very entrepreneurial, and I love how you kind of thought of this idea very organically, and it came from your own kind of passions and desires.
Thank you.
So cool. I can't believe you started it this February and you've already grown to so many people, over 13,000 a following and everything. So looking at everything that you're involved in, just like you said, FBLA, mock trial, MUN, student leadership, research at Brown University, volunteering, and then also managing Ella for Students, how do you actually balance everything, especially with school?
That's also a great question. So actually, I kind of gave up on a couple leadership positions. This sounds insane to some people. I literally gave up full-on leadership roles and didn't run for them because I decided to dedicate more time to Ayla for Students. I do think I made the right decision at the end of the day because when I quit these clubs, let me tell you, over the summer I got 4,000 followers. Literally just by putting in the effort, being consistent, getting more media features, and I feel like this genuinely wouldn't have happened if I didn't give up school clubs. But with the ones that I'm in right now, I kind of kept the ones that I wanted to be involved in. There are a couple competition-based ones, and there are a couple politics ones that I still kept. And I feel like I still made the right decision and I also gave up clubs that didn't give me the leadership position. This sounds also insane to some people, but I just didn't want to dedicate the time to something that I could have dedicated time to something else. And it was hard telling some people about it, but at the end of the day, you have to do what you have to do. And I feel like it's important to do things that you can benefit from. So let's say I would give up the ones that I just didn't align myself with. Because I feel let's say researching at Brown on something that could be related to my future career just seemed more beneficial to me than a random school club. But I also did give up because I felt like I had too many, and I've also heard conversations from some people that I was apparently taking away positions from people, which I don't think was true. You have hands, you can apply to any position you want. But still, I just chose to pursue like bigger opportunities than smaller ones, which I think helped me manage my time better. And also, I still run on 4 hours of sleep. I'm not going to lie about this. If you have big projects, time management is, you have to give up on certain things like sleep and stuff. And I feel like, maybe time blocking your day is very important. I recently started doing that, and I feel even more like, I feel like I'm more productive in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love what you said at the start. Like I think that dedicating more time on a couple things is a lot better than dedicating like a little bit of time in like a million opportunities. But yeah.
And speaking of what you dedicate your time to, you've recently become a multiple-time Amazon best-selling author with The Right Move. What made you decide to write a book while you're still in high school and balancing all of your extracurriculars and hobbies?
Oh, that's a great question. So, when I was in middle school, I used to read a lot. I would read hundreds of books like a day, and my school had this top reader thing every month, and I was literally like in first place every single month. So I've always loved books, but when I got to high school, that kind of stopped because I had to be involved in a lot of things. But I was thinking to myself this year, and I was like, I do want to make more impact in my community. I do, because I love like talking, I love brain dumping, and I realized the best thing I could do is write a book. And it was also kind of like out of nowhere, but I did more background research on this compared to launching Ayla for Students. With book, I reached out to a couple people. I was like, I'm very interested in writing a book. How did you publish your book? Are there any tips you can give me? And I think it went really well from there. And then I also have my friend Remy, who was also like my editor. He gave me ideas on what to do. And from there, I just published my book. And it was a much easier step than I thought it would have been.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I also think it's so cool how you gained so much traction for this book and how it kind of garnered a lot of popularity on certain websites. So we were wondering, did you have any specific promotion strategies that helped you gain this traction for the book other than your social media?
So I think it's genuinely mainly my social media, because I literally just opened my computer and I saw like my book was in like I think 26th place for one of the categories, and I was so shocked, like, because I genuinely didn't think people would put in the effort to buy it. Another thing I did, I don't know how to check the book sales, to be honest with you. I only get the notifications of payments, but what I did was I reached out to a couple libraries, and I think they actually bought my book. So if anybody is thinking of writing their own book, I think maybe cold emailing is a good way to do. I didn't want to cold email like any big people because my book is like very amateur. Although in a couple of years I do want to when I get to college, dedicate the time and do it with like an actual place like Penguin or Barnes and Noble. But I think for now, I think I kept it to a minimal and I just cold emailed.
Okay, that's amazing. So a question was, what was the process of actually writing your book as well as publishing it, and what made you want to write The Right Move? What made you decide to write that book, and how was it writing it and publishing it?
Perfect. So how I wrote it was, again, my friend Remy. I reached out to him and he was really interested in helping me out, and what he did was he would kind of write questions for me, kind of like guiding questions. He did some research and he helped me out. He would give me guiding questions and I would just brain dump on that. At first I would just write everything that I possibly could, and then from there I would kind of cluster my ideas within which I think it fell into. I initially wanted to make The Right Move kind of a big book with a bunch of features and a bunch of more opportunities, but I decided to break it all up so that people who are interested in whatever they want to read can buy them separately. I think the process of writing it was actually pretty easy for me. What I did was, usually when I got free time at home, I published this book around April, May, so it was towards the end of the school year. My schedule was a lot more relaxed than it usually was. So let's say I would just go to a coffee shop or a library and I would just sit down, put my headphones in, and I would actually focus so well. I would also write my book again in school, in between classes, during classes, when I didn't have much work to do. And I feel like just doing it in different locations gave me more ideas on what I could write about. Because let's say I would go to a specific place and I would think about that, but I would go to a different place and I would talk about another thing. I would get more ideas. And yeah, I would say anybody that wants to publish a book, the process is pretty easy. You can do it through Amazon KDP, and there is also Barnes and Noble Press. I haven't tried that out, but I do want to try it out for my next book as well.
Yeah, I think that's a very amazing process that you had, and I think so many high schoolers can relate to the fact that when they have so much free time in their schedule, they really don't know what to do with it. And I like that you use your time so productively to actually, kind of create something with all of the talent that you do have and the passion that you have for English. So the next question that we have is, you're obviously still a high school student and you're going into grade 11 now, so you're getting kind of closer to the university application process. And so we were wondering what you're thinking about studying and what kind of career in the future you see yourself pursuing.
I love this question. I am very interested in studying government and political science as my main major. Some schools do it differently. They call it government, some call it political science. And I would like to minor in possibly something like English or American literature, depends on, what the school offers as well. I do want to, let's say, explore a bunch of different opportunities. I do hope to go to law school, after that, and I want to possibly go into immigration and, immigration is my main one, but I want to maybe, do immigration and corporate because I am Turkish and a lot of people in my community do both. And so that stuck out to me a little, but I also have to explore it a little bit more.
That's so cool, and I love that you already kind of have an idea and like a big picture of what you kind of want to pursue with like immigration, political science, and everything. So moving on, what has been the biggest challenge that you faced while building Ella for Students, and how did you work through it?
I feel like a couple things actually. The main thing was I feel like growing my community. I've tried a bunch of different ways, like adding a bunch of people to my account. That really didn't work out too well, and I also don't recommend doing that. Adding a bunch of people and then your account can get suspended. So don't do that. And then I just realized I would try a bunch of different reels. Like I would dedicate my heart and soul to growing that account, and I feel like that is a really big thing. Growing your community is super hard, and finding like a community that will support you. And another thing is it's just like it's kind of hard trying to tell people that some people would come up to me and be like, I want to do a passion project, I'm going to 12th grade, and I want to put it on my college application. And I'm like, I'm trying to explain it to people. I'm genuinely not trying to be mean, but I'm like, it might even hurt you. So at that point, like maybe wait until you get to college or pursue it and just stick with it through college. Because again, doing a passion project or let's say a nonprofit, I know multiple people that literally just created nonprofits when they got to college. So, it's not gonna hurt you, running an organization. It only has benefits, I feel like, rather than like negatives. But again, it's really hard to kind of say things without people misunderstanding you. I mean, I've had times where people were like, why are you being so mean to me? And I'm like, I'm genuinely not being mean to you. I'm trying to explain the right process. Again, I would also say it in like a super nice way. Like, again, I'm not like, I can sometimes be a dry texter, but when I'm doing something like this, I'm never like dry. Like, I'm always trying to be super cheerful, super nice, but I'm not, at the end of the day, some people also treat me as like a college consultant, and I'm trying to tell people that I do not really help with essays. Like, again, if you send it to me, I'll probably give you some vague feedback on what you can improve, but I specialize in application for other programs or awards, not necessarily college applications. Like, I'm not even like a very credible person to do that, but you get what I mean. Growing my community, although it has been hard, I think I did a great job with that, and I still have time. I do want to pursue it when I get to college, definitely. I do want to achieve more things with AILA for Students, and hopefully I also want to apply for a fiscal sponsorship for AILA for Students, so students can also bring this to their school and kind of advise other people in their school who wants to do a passion project. And another thing, again, it's just communication is kind of hard when it's online, but I still do my best to explain everything to people, and my recommendations, I try to give them very detailed recommendations on what to do.
Yeah, I love that so much, and I definitely agree. Like, communication is super important, and especially like the process of getting a following. But you mentioned talking about passion projects and how some people want to start it at like 12th grade just for university. So this is kind of relating to passion projects, but what do you think makes a passion project genuinely meaningful instead of just something that's for college applications?
This is definitely like the type of question I love answering the most. So I know what projects are going to be successful when they first come to me. Some people have already researched what this is. Again, you don't need to really know anything, but some people that they would just come up to me and just get, just be like, "Oh, how can I make this more versatile?" rather than I have no clue. Again, it's okay because I will walk you through it, but some people, they like getting a head start on it. They like doing their own research. So I think that's step one. Another thing is, it's just their passion project is not just some Instagram page. I hate to say it. They do fundraisers, they do other events, they go to senior homes, let's say. They do other stuff. They fund trips, and it's just they do very interesting things that are genuinely thoughtful, if you get what I mean. Like, I would see it and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. I've never seen this concept before." Or, something like I wonder how they thought about it. Because, if you come up to me and you're like, "I want to support kids with cancer," obviously there are so many out there that do the same thing. So, some people just find a niche, or let's say they find still like a very generic thing, but they scale it very well. Like they would, it would be like, they would do fundraisers, but at the same time they would, help students with scholarships or do this and do that. So that is another thing, it would be very interesting. And another thing is, I absolutely love podcasts. I work for a podcast called Vitals and Voices, which is like a medicine podcast in a way. And it's just like, I see every sign, I love podcasts because I think it's very interesting and I think people do it very well. Especially as a passion project, I absolutely love those. With nonprofits, I do, let's say, it's a little bit more shakier because a lot of the students, they just created for a college, and a lot of people just don't even really know how a nonprofit works because they don't even research it. Some people would come up to me and they would tell me about it, and I'm like, this might even count as a political organization, so you might have to register it. And some people would come up to me and be like, what is the difference between if I register it or if I don't register it? So it's like, if you don't know it from the beginning, it's going to be a lot harder for you, let's say, to run it as the executive director. The last thing is, if a passion project is going to be successful, it's not going to be run by one person. I mean, I run Ayla for Students as a one person, but now I am expanding, let's say, my team to more consultants so I can get to more people. And, I'm launching a podcast where I will have a separate podcast team, and I'm launching an app where I would have a different team, but at the end of the day, it will be under the same bracket. And I would do, I was planning on doing more stuff with grants, and I was going to ask for people to help me out about that. So just not doing everything, alone is definitely going to be the key for success. You need people, you need a team, and you have to be friends with the people in your team.
Yeah, I actually love that so much. I think research is so important, and I think scaling is a really big thing, not just doing one thing, but then scaling it, applying to grants and then maybe doing something else on the side is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so next, you kind of touched on this earlier, but a question that we have is, do you think students, especially incoming freshmen and sophomores, should focus on applying to many things to kind of broaden their scope and kind of try out the things that they like? Or do you think they should be more selective and kind of go deeper into a few opportunities early on?
Well, that's a really good one. So because freshman and sophomore year, I feel like there's still more, I feel like freshman year is definitely exploring, because in freshman year, I was in 10 clubs and I got leadership in around 8 of them. So again, freshman year is definitely 100% just explore, just apply for a bunch of things. When you get to sophomore year, don't apply for a bunch of positions in nonprofits. Don't apply for a bunch of leadership. Start scaling down. Don't drop every club. Drop from maybe 10 to 6. And then your junior year, you would drop from 6 to 4, I guess. It would be steps. I would say there aren't a lot of selective opportunities that you can do. So I guess what you can do is just maybe, again, start a passion project that you can scale, and scale that so that in your junior year, you can apply to more platforms. Or let's say programs or, other things.
Yeah, that's definitely a really interesting and kind of insightful outlook on that, especially as someone that's still in high school.
Yeah, so you have worked with more than 1,000 students through Ella for Students. So, what is one mistake that you see students making a lot?
I feel like the main mistake that I see students making a lot is that it's just they're doing like not everything, but a lot of things for college admissions. And in my opinion, it's just like if you're doing something for college admissions, you're just gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it. I can guarantee you. Like there were clubs that I was just doing to put it on my resume, and it was just getting so annoying to the point that like I just dreaded going to the meetings. And another thing is also like working with people that you don't like just so that you can put it on your resume. Like don't do it. Don't. You're going to find something that you absolutely love, so you have to pursue that. And don't think of college admissions, because I can guarantee you a lot of people that get into good schools actually continue their project when they get there. There are a lot of people on Instagram that I see, and like they're just continuing their like nonprofits when they get to college, and they get a bunch of awards and stuff for doing it, and recognition and great skills. So people should, I feel like, continue doing that or do something like that rather than like give it up the second they get to college.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that like you should do something that you're actually passionate about, and it's really clear that you're super passionate about Ella for Students. Like you've helped so many students, you've grown your platform so much, and in such a short amount of time. Like I had no idea you started it this year, and you've already gained so many followers, which is absolutely crazy.
Thank you so much.
And so, yeah, so I think you're someone that's so decorated and so young. So we were kind of wondering how you built such an extensive and impressive resume as someone in high school, and kind of did it feel natural to begin building experience, or did you have to make a conscious effort to go and like seek out these new opportunities when beginning high school?
I feel like it was a mix of both, because with my passion projects, or let's say my organizations, I feel like it was more natural. With a lot of them, it was very natural. And but with some of them, like I'm a page at the State House, like I didn't know that I could get that position, like because some of these positions are very word of mouth, so I had to genuinely like reach out to people and be like, how did you get this position? With a lot of my research, I think it was also very natural. Like I would find people interested in the field that I'm in, and then they would come back and like just respond to me. So I feel like it's a mix of what you want to do. And let me see, what else do I have with the clubs. It was like with clubs, I feel like when you first apply, that's very natural, but if you want to get like a top position, you have to know people, you have to get along well with the advisor, so you actually have to put in the effort.
Okay,
That's a great
so
answer.
to end off the podcast, if there is a student listening right now who feels like everyone around them is just doing more than they are, what would you want to tell them?
Figure out what you want to do in your future and just do it according to that. If you hate an opportunity, please do not continue it. If you think you're not going to get the leadership role you want, also don't continue it. I mean, shoot your shot, but just don't do it. It's just so important to find what you're interested in. Even if you're like undecided, you can technically apply undecided, but just find out what you are interested in, fields you're interested in. So figure that out. And I'm just a huge fan of just people creating passion projects rather than stacking random clubs.
Okay, yeah, I actually really like that. And I love that advice, that do something that you're interested in and really try to get leadership positions and put a lot of effort into like 2 or 3 clubs, and like not do like a little bit of effort in a lot. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here today.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.